Hi everyone, Miriam Schimmel here, and on today's video I wanted to show how I paint with blueberry juice. Now, I don't paint with blueberry juice that often, but when I do, it's such a blast using it. So, using blueberry juice to paint, right off the bat, I do want to say that it's kind of like using watercolor paints. Except that in my personal experience, it's not as potent as watercolor paints from the store. At least that's from how I've made it, but maybe somebody else knows any other tips or tricks to kind of make it more potent, but I just wanted to just put that out there. But anyways, before I really get ahead of myself, let me just go ahead and start by sharing with you my process of how I design and paint with blueberry juice. Alrighty, to start, I like to have all my mise en place, which is a French term used in culinary world that means all ingredients should be ready right before you start cooking. So I kind of like to take that term from culinary school and use it on my artwork, so that way I can have all my ingredients or all my tools set right there, so that when I need them, I don't have to go looking for them as much and they're just sitting right there ready for me to use. So what I use to create this piece in the video are as follows. A handful of frozen blueberries, it doesn't matter what kind. I chose the cheapest from my local grocery store. I also used a small microwavable bowl, so that way I could heat up the blueberries in there. 4 to 5 tablespoons of water to mix in with the frozen blueberries. A spoon, a sketch pencil, a red color pencil, paper that is used for mixed media, a thin brush with a pointy end, a rag or paper towel so you could dry off your brushes. 1 cup of clean water so that way you can clean your brushes as you go, and a Pentel brush pen. I take 4 to 5 tablespoons of water and pour it straight into the frozen blueberries. Then I microwave the frozen blueberries for 30 seconds in 10-second intervals. I've got to emphasize using those 10-second intervals to check on your blueberries. You don't want to overdo it and burn them or burn yourself, and you don't want to underdo it because then they're just not going to just extract those juices the right way. So I recommend making sure to check in between those 10 seconds, and please be safe about it. So after I microwave the blueberries, and while they're warm, I then start mashing them with my spoon. I make sure to really get in there and smash them because I want all that lovely color to just get extracted from those blueberries. And let me tell you, this really comes in handy when I'm having a really crummy day and I just want to go ahead and mash things up. I just start mashing up these blueberries and I immediately start feeling better because I've just let out all my frustration out on these blueberries. So my preferred tools for sketching are usually a lead pencil, any old pencil will do, or a Prismacolor Col-Erase Crimson Red sketch pencil. I love these pencils because I just love how the color red pops out, and I love how easy they are to erase. So I definitely recommend these for sketching, but any old pencil will do. So for this piece, I decided to use my old reliable motifs, which are feathers, skulls, the female figure, and Aztec motifs. Go figure, right? I mean, these are the motifs I'm most comfortable with drawing, and I mean, sometimes I don't like to branch out too much because this is just what I love to draw. And I mean, you know, so what? Nothing wrong with it. Just gotta go with it. Sometimes my ideas come from the top, sometimes they're just random, and sometimes I actually like to use a reference. So I just recommend whatever you're feeling that day, just go ahead and go with what your heart tells you. And okay, so now we're getting to the real fun stuff. So I'm now starting to use the blueberry juice. I don't want to wet the brush too much because then if it's too wet, the wetness will be too uncontrollable for me. So I kind of want to wet it enough so that way we get the pigment onto the paper. And so I like to start on a spacious area because there's a little more wiggle room for the water to just branch out a bit. And so once you get comfortable with a spacious area and covering it up, you want to start getting comfortable and just work your way into the little corners. And if it's too small, you can start using a skinnier brush to kind of go over those areas. I decided to switch it up and use a thinner brush because it was actually easier for me to get edges with this brush than the previous brush that I was using because it was a bit thicker. So since blueberry juice is kind of like watercolors, you kind of have to work fast in order to prevent the first layer from drying up uneven. But I do admit, sometimes it does dry up on me before I can make any adjustments, but that's okay. I think that's the appeal of watercolor, for me at least. I love the choppy look. So here I am trying to work as fast as possible, putting up the first layer. Before beginning the second layer to start adding the shadows, I made sure that the first layer was dry. So here I am adding the second layer, just adding little wiggly lines here and there to make sure that it resembles clothes when it's all wrinkled, just improvising, not really caring about where those lines go. I did end up painting the face, and I made sure that it was dry before I started on the second layer. And now you can see me add the second layer to resemble a shadow on her face. And here I decided to add shadows to the eyelids of the skull that she has on her head. And finally, I decided to add some shadow to her hair. And now for the final touches, I start using my Pentel brush pen in medium to outline the entire drawing. If you've never used a brush pen, I definitely recommend it. It is a game changer. I think I only started using these about 6 or 7 years ago, but when I found out about these, I was like, I have to start practicing on these. And it did take me a little bit. It took me a couple of tries practicing on a plain white paper, but I did get the hang of it. But it does take a little bit of practice, but I definitely recommend it. The first person that I actually ever witnessed use a Pentel brush pen or a brush pen in general was the late artist Kim Jung-gi. And he inspired me to use that. And like I said, it was a game changer. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would ever start using those brush pens, at least not as soon as I did. And so now I'm going to go over the final touches and go over the eyelids with some red color pencil and the nose as well. I give her serapes some accents to resemble some texture, and I finish off the hair. And there it is, my finished piece of my disgruntled Aztec warrior. And I hope y'all enjoyed this process video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel, and make sure to hit that notification bell. I hope to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace!